Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I am back. And today, right now, when I say, um, all of this, give me a moment. We're gonna talk about a bunch of things. And we're gonna continue talking about the AI mess in several different ways. Um, we're gonna begin talking where we were last time. Um, Play to Earn and The Verge and PC Gamer talked about this specific thing, and I have mixed views on AI. There are some people that are like no, no, no on AI, and there's some people that are yes, yes, yes on AI. I am right smack dab down the middle. Here on this channel, we are for any tool that can be used for the betterment of gaming as a whole, and as a result, this is worth talking about. I'm gonna look at the basically, he has a lot of things to say about AI. And this is from PC Gamer. Tim Sweeney on the future of AI games and whether Valve will ever join forces with Epic. It is now clear nobody's going to end up with an absolute monopoly, because that is kind of a worry to some people. Let me pull this up here with a little bit of extra oomph. And this is talking about AI in games. I'm going to sum it up here. And this is going to actually help me out with this. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this up in terms of AI. This is the nope, that's not the one I need. This is no subject. Here we go. Okay, Tim Sweeney on the future of AI games and whether Valve will ever join forces with Epic. It is now clear no one will ever have an absolute monopoly. At Unreal Fest in Chicago last week, Epic Games revealed its master plan for the Unreal Engine 6 rather than the usual talk of its new fancy rendering features, the company is pitching the next version of its industry standard game engine as a great unifier and that will enable content code and economics to be supportable and instructable across games. After this keynote, which he outlined his hands across digital screen, Tim Sweeney decided to get more clarity into his insights in the future of gaming. This is more about the game engine itself than the AI. I wanted to get to the AI specifically, but he wanted his engine to be open source, free the code, that kind of thing. And that's great. That is absolutely wonderful. And he says, this is PC Gamer that said this. I understand your diagnosis for the games industry problem. That it can't keep putting out $400 million AAA games that flame out. But I'm less certain about your team open solution where games and their economics are interconnected. It reminds me of a title of a little. It reminds me of little of the blockchain premise. When people are saying you'd be right to take a sword from an Ubisoft game and an EA game, but nobody wants that. It doesn't solve the problem for the player. What does games within games and an internet-connected system resolve and deliver for the player? The main benefits are for the player, Tim Sweeney says. Let's start with social. It's a lot more broken than most people realize. If you're the only one playing a game, if you're only playing one game with your friends all the time, then A, you're in a situation where that works fine, and B, you've selected friends that happen to work with that platform and social ecosystem. In the old days, before Sony and Microsoft talked to each other, that was you playing with all the people on the same platform. And today, it's across consoles. But if you go from Fortnite to Apex Legends, you can bring your existing friend and conversations over if they're across platforms. Right now, there's different, completely separated social ecosystems on Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, Steam, and PC, and bespoke developers' social ecosystems. Epic has one, and it's awesome, and it's open to third-party developers that most publishers have their own as well, and Activision has one, and so on. So, what he is saying here, and I'm gonna just sum this up, okay? And he is saying that the next natural progression is going to different places, right? Go into different points of view, right? And taking assets and things from those games and sharing them across platforms. And you know what? Reading the article, I agree with this. This open ecosystem where you can take assets from your favorite games after buying them and you use them to develop your own and use them cross-platform, it's the next logical step. I'm not saying that you're going to be able to go into Epic Games and fight with a freaking Keyblade, okay? That's not what I'm saying. I really think that's going a step too far. It might be a possibility in the long run, right? I think that will happen eventually, to a degree, and like, I'm not saying don't try for that kind of thing in the future. I think that would be a great thing. However, my personal opinion, right? In order to properly get this done, we need to be doing it carefully in a way that respects all artists. Because if you use something, this is why I'm taking all the time that I am with Liberty Radio. I'm gonna go and look at it because not here. But you can see I have a lot of music, right? And let's open the NAS. So you guys can see right? So here's the network, here's the NAS, and you see the Radio Liberty Live and stuff. I haven't done much effort into this. I would love to, but I have to be careful because I have to give all of these artists their proper due. Thankfully, so far, I don't have a Liberty Radio blocked. So they're either under the live or the review section. And so I'm looking forward to getting that up and running. But you have to give people their proper due. Another thing that he mentions, and I can't find this in this particular article, he talks about AI. And he explains that he is not very happy with. I found this coming across on Facebook and it didn't really have a source. So I'm gonna just briefly gloss over it. He says, I don't like Steam's labels for AI covered games. Let me just show you what I mean with this, okay? Arcane. Librarian, tidy up the arcane library. By the way, I have learned this, right, enough that I am actually going to... It is 5:09. I'm going to add it to the cart and purchase it. And this is a little cozy game that I'm actually going to play on the channel. Yes, this is my statement. I am playing this game that has AI to it. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you what the AI is used for. Because I had so many people that tried to come out and say this is a bad game because it's got AI, it's replacing people. Let me show you. Let me see if... let me see if it says anything. I don't think it does. Steam Deck compatibility. I don't even see where it says AI use. AI is used in the making of it. Okay. Let me see. Okay, so AI generated content disclosure. Okay, so it does actually show that it's AI developed. And for a while, everybody was up in a hoopla about this. The 4 assets in this work. One is the UI component, and the 3 landscape painting used as wall decorations and frames. AI helped grammatical corrections. We only consider AI to be a supportive tool. Every detail is meticulously crafted with human intent as our creative process, and we still firmly anchored the process in manual craftsmanship. So that is their statement. But I had so many people who said, and I didn't know whether Steam had this or not. So I'm glad that they do. I'm more on Steam's side now than I was. Because there are some people, some personal people who decided, hey, I want to make sure that I don't play any games with any AI in it. But there's also people that say, oh, this game uses AI, and we're not going to disclose specifically what it used because we don't like AI all that much. And there are people that are so against AI. Like, I've told people I use AI myself to generate writing prompts. And I use it to help me edit my characters and stuff as a sounding board for what I already have. Let me be clear. I don't go to AI and say, hey, AI, write this character for me so I don't have to. or write this scene for me so I don't have to. My questions are more like, okay, I want a character that wants in their heart to be human and to have human emotion, and they have that desire, but they don't know how to express that human emotion. They don't have that human emotion. What does that feel like? What does that act like? And it goes and it tells me different things. Because when I do this, I don't want to do it in a way where it's, what you call it? I don't want it to do so in a way that it's, how do I put it? That it is, it seems like, what are they called? Sociopaths or something like that. Or like robots or anything like that. I want them to have actual desire. I want them to have actual passion, but I don't want it to feel the same as human emotion. If that makes any sense. And that's where I kind of agree with the man at the head of this here, Tim Sweeney. Thank you. I knew his initials were TS. And part of the whole AI perspective, by the way, I will be linking this article down below so you can read it, as well as the other article couple of articles I'm going to use for this. And we're going to basically go through to the next topic. I'm trying to find the exact thing that I'm looking for, guys, and it's not being... Okay, here we go. This is an interview that I'll have to pull up, to be quite honest with you.
I don't think you're gonna get it. Apparently it's...
And I'm gonna copy it and send it to myself, just like I did this particular one. As well as some of the other things that we ended up kind of discussing a little bit. And the reason that I'm getting this all together is, and I should have done this to start with, I'll have to learn next time to do exactly that. So, I apologize in advance. And most of this is Reddit and it's insider stuff, so take it with a grain of salt. I don't really trust Reddit as a full-blown source, but I'm gonna pull it up anyway because it's important to do that. But the D&D people started doing something quite interesting. They have, and I'll get to the articles here in just a minute, started hiring D&D AI people to actually do some of this extra stuff. And basically what they're doing is they're making AI chatbots that basically act as DMs. And I like I said, and there's some cool stuff from Sam Riegel here. This is where I do agree with the anti-AI people, because my views are nuanced and they have a lot of tenure here. Like they have a lot of... It's pulling up now. We're gonna start with this interview. We're gonna see how
It's time for Operation America 250. Yeah. We're gonna go see Young Washington in theaters this 4th of July.
yes, Popverse.
Hey, Boppers! Welcome to Day 3 of Emerald City Comic Con 2026. I'm here with some absolutely lovely...
Wow.
Yes, you! Wow!
I couldn't hold it Can we make an intro or what is the matter with you? I'm sorry! Jesus! We got a professional!
It's the lights! You know how the lights make you sneeze?
What an asshole.
Okay, Sam and Matt and Travis are here from Popverse, and they're actually, again, credit where credit is due. This should be a rocket interview.
So we're here with Matt Mercer, live from sick bay. We've got
Yes.
Sam Riegel
Yes. Amazing.
and Travis Willis.
Exactly what you want going into a convention.
Yes. Hey, gang.
Howdy, howdy.
Thank you so much for joining me here at Death's Door. Sam, because you sneezed, I do have to start with you.
Yes.
That's your punishment. In 2024, you mentioned to Rolling Stone that Critical Role was working on an animated series that had nothing to do with Exandria. I know you can't talk about any specifics or anything like that,
Yes.
but...
Are we still?
Well, do you want to Do you want to answer that?
That statement remains true to this day.
Okay.
Development takes a long time in television. We've had this idea.
That's not what I was going to do. Let's see Polygon specifically. Let's see if... Alright. So this is not actually something that is on video. I thought it was. But no. Art isn't supposed to be easy, says co-founder of Critical Role, Sam Riegel. An increasing number of creatives in the entertainment industry are starting to favor the use of artificial intelligence, making us wonder if it's only a matter of time before AI dominates the industry that once prided itself on human creativity. I will add ingenuity to that because ingenuity is important as well. You can't just have creativity. You've got to have the ingenuity, you've got to have the drive, and that is what I'm trying to learn right now as I go through this channel. Anyway, however, there are also creatives out there pushing back against the AI storm, namely the founders of Critical Role. The new interview with Cosmic's Beat shows Critical Role co-founder Sam Riegel and the music producer and songwriter Peter Habib. I hope I'm pronouncing that last name right, Mr. Peter. If I'm not, please feel free to correct me. He spoke about the use of AI in creative spaces. The two also touched upon whether they would use it in the songwriting process of Critical Role's animated adaptations, The Legend of Vox Machina and The Mighty Nine. Now, in this production, there was no AI used, and this was done by the songwriting guy. Speaking about the iconic song "Who Will You Be," featured in the second episode of The Mighty Nine, On My Side, it is becoming more of a tool utilized by music producers and to formulate ideas. I have peers in the business who use it as a springboard to get ideas started. It's interesting to see what comes out. Like, if you get to a moment in the session where you're a little stuck, it's almost like having a third writer in the room. So he almost is in favor of it, it seems. Because he went on to say, while there's value in using AI, it was scary to see how fast technology was moving and its impact on the music business, citing AI-generated songs being uploaded to Spotify every day. Though if any critters were worried, this might mean AI would be used in future productions of Critical Role and its animated adaptations in the future. Fear not. I think our opinion is that it's basically garbage. Regal clarified. There are people and artists who use it like Peter is talking about, but we're not one of those. The co-founder went on to express his amusement that AI and its initial conception was a tool to help humanity by giving us time to do what we want, such as appreciating life and creating art. But now it seems like the new pitch from these AI companies is AI can do that too, and it can create poetry and music, but what makes us human beings, but that's what makes us human beings, and why would we give that away? And I will say, and I'll link this article and all the others down below, this is a somewhat positive pushback, and when I say somewhat positive pushback, I mean this with the utmost respect to Sam Riegel. Huge fan of every character he's ever done. Fresh Cut Grass was absolutely amazing. Scanlan Shorthole, very good hero. I enjoy every one of them. I think he does very well with what he does. He does great work. I also dislike the art isn't supposed to be easy. And he's calling AI garbage, and he says, he says, I think our opinion is that it's basically garbage. Regal clarified, there are people who use it like Peter is talking about, but we're not one of those. Okay. Are you calling people who use it as a springboard like people are like Peter is talking about garbage? I am not anti, I don't like AI as a whole. I don't think it's a substitute for human creativity. But if you want to use it as a springboard, you should be able to every once in a while without somebody somewhere, right? And I'm gonna tag another, let me see if I can go through it. I'm gonna call this one done because that wasn't what I was gonna say. But I'm going to go in and look through my history because this is not this. This is not what I want. History, there we go. I'm going down into this. This is not what I want. This is not it. Not it at all. Going far down. Here we are. Dungeons and Dragons is over. This is by a channel called Dungeons and Discourse. We're gonna watch part of this.
8 digits, 8 shots. Find the numbers before they find me.
Hasbro, the corporate owner of Dungeons & Dragons, Magic the Gathering, and of course the iconic Beyblade, has been going crazy lately, and things just got crazier, because now Hasbro is not only going to war with Wizards of the Coast and with Dungeons & Dragons itself, but they also just decided to go to war with all the players and gamers and role players of those games as well, as Hasbro have been caught and exposed in their new plan to end Dungeons & Dragons forever as we know it and transform it into something completely terrible. And this change will fundamentally impact every single person's game of Dungeons & Dragons right now, because Hasbro is killing D&D as we know it. And I'm not exaggerating. So here is what's happening. Currently, Dungeons & Dragons has two types of gamers. On the one hand, you have the role players, people who make characters to play in a game. They choose their stats, or they roll them up 3d6 in order if they're a Giga Chad. They choose their class, they pick their ridiculous accent, they take an extensive acting course, and then murder hobo their way through an adventure, ignoring every single plot hook put in front of them by their dungeon master. Your mileage may vary on that last part. And to play the game as players, they only really need their character sheet, some dice, their imagination, and maybe a player's handbook to see their spells if they're a wizard, or if they're playing a martial class like a fighter, to chew on. Then on the other side of the table are your gamers who are dungeon masters. You know, your Matt Mercers, your Matt Colvilles, your Matt Brendan Lee Mulligans. They craft much of the game. They determine a lot of the fiction happening at the table. They narrate the world to the players so that everyone can share the same vision of what's happening in the game. And for most tables, they also arbitrate, well, everything. How does this rule work? Can my character...
And that is how it's supposed to work, but here in a little bit, I think...
You just can't play. Unless you're doing one of those indie, freestyle, avant-garde type of games, in which case you... Since the dawn of Dungeons & Dragons, and almost every single tabletop RPG in the world follows this exact structure. And Hasbro, the corporate owners of Dungeons & Dragons, hate this, because this lopsided responsibility has created a culture in D&D where the people that actually buy the vast majority of products for Dungeons & Dragons, and therefore give Hasbro their money, are the Dungeon Masters. Notoriously, it's well known in the industry that gamers, role players, do not spend much money, because Dungeon Masters, you know, they need to buy all the books anyway, and therefore they often share everything with their players. They share their books, their dice, their wives, so most role players simply borrow all that stuff when playing, meaning they don't need to buy much for themselves. Dungeon Masters buy...
And that is what we're getting into. I'm gonna end the video watching there because I have most of the articles that we need. But it's going to be a matter of to introduce you to the problem, right? Okay, so in a lengthy interview with VentureBeat, Hasbro CEO Chris Cox, adequate name for a CEO. Sorry, I had to. Corporatism, guys. Anyway, comes across as excited, cautious, but also certain about AI. Here's the thing. Ignore anybody. Here's what I've learned. When someone is certain about something, especially when it comes to business, ignore that dude. You know, you never trust a car salesman that says trust me. Yeah, that's the place this is coming from, right? Never trust a car salesman that says trust me. So, it started when an interviewer asks about the experiments paying off. He mentions Hasbro doing a new AI product experiment once every 2 or 3 months. Now, for now, mostly digital games for adults, such as generating Ouija board results, big problem there, or Trivial Pursuit questions. You know, some of these things, they make sense, right? They make bloody sense. But here's the deal, right? Oh, that's so funny. Sony prepared PAX East booth raises protests from tabletop community with the LGBTQ. That's hilarious. They're not gonna care. They're Saudis. That's a whole nother ball game. Anyway, they're doing all these experiments with gaming and AI, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't be doing these experiments, right? That's never what I'm gonna say. However, and I'm gonna end this episode with these comments, right? And this is what I'll link the video down below, as well as the articles that I used. But I'm gonna stop talking about this now because I'm kind of tired of it. I believe absolutely that AI is a tool that can be used. And I believe that it can be used as a springboard to help you create. But I do not believe it should be that AI can replace people. It never should. Nobody should try. But here's what Hasbro is doing. And you, like I said, you can go through the video yourself. I wanted to play it a little bit for opening comments and that kind of thing. And hear them talk. I will link down below everything that I've got. Some of it I used in this video, others I did not. But here's the deal. With these AI scandals, right, the generation of Trivial Pursuit questions, things like that, they have, how do I put this? They have given issues, or they've given new tasks to the people who use AI. And one of the new tasks they've given, and it's been found out through leaks, that there are dungeon master characters that are hosts, and they lead the players through a story. Here's why that's not going to work in the long run. Number one, dungeon masters are the only ones with the money. A lot of the time, dungeon masters share everything that they have. If dungeon masters cannot do this, they will not be able to do their job as effectively. And a lot of them are going to quit because they're going to be frustrated by all the pay-to-play models. And the way that they're going to get around people sharing all this stuff, anybody caught sharing the information they've got through their subscriptions, and it is a pay-to-play model, is going to be banned. Now, here's the issue with the subscription model. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to read off some prices to you. These are the subscription models available, right? popular streaming services right now. We've got Netflix, we've got Amazon Prime, we've got HBO Max, and we've got Disney Plus as the 4 most popular. Right? They're healthy, they're the most heavyweight. And we're talking about $20 to $40 a pop for this stuff. Like, literally, you've got... And this, some of this has like ad-free tiers and tiers with ads, right? So Netflix, you've got with ads, you've got $7.99. Without it, you're paying $26.99. That's nearly double. $18.99. Actually, $15.99 because Disney Plus and Hulu, they're kind of the same thing now. So $15.99 for that, $26.99 for the other. You're pretty much paying $30 right off the bat. Actually, $40 right off the bat. $20.99, so that means $60 for the topmost. Right? And you add Prime Video is $14.99. So you've already got $50 a month. Now, when you make $1,000 every other week, $2,000 a month, depending on your job, depending on your rate of pay. And that's the main problem as well. With the rising cost of everything, we've talked about this before. Nobody pays enough. Like, seriously, nobody pays enough to live anymore. People say, oh, trim the fat, trim the fat, trim the fat. Okay, how much fat do I have to trim? Seriously, how much fat do I have to trim? The phrase trim the fat to me right now is telling me, and I'm not a consumerist, okay? I believe in owning what you can. I believe this whole you will own nothing and you will be happy crap is horrible. I think if something is going to be out there to watch, I think I ought to be able to buy it if I really want to. And I ought to be able to have it on my person if I really want to. And have I actually followed through with that where I can? Yes, I actually have. I have music that I've ordered. I have different things that I've ordered that I own. In fact, I can pull up a whole list of things that I own right now. Let me go to Plex. Now, some of these things I did not pay for because you cannot buy it. If you could buy it, I would buy it. However, new tab to the right, and I should be able to do Plex as a thing that I... Nope, I'll have to... Let me do multimedia. That's Plex Amp. That's not what I need. Plex Media Server. There we go. You can see right here. These are stuff that's available to stream right here. But music, if I click music, all of this, 99% of all of this is stuff that I have either purchased MP3s of, or I have purchased a flat out CD and I've ripped it. This is actually one of the most recent. I purchased this because I wanted the last album that I've got. And funny. Actually, I think 2 particular songs is the only ones that I've got here that I really like. Or that I've really heard before. The rest I haven't heard, so I'm looking forward to that. But literally everything on that list is stuff that I've bought in some way. If I could buy it, I bought it. You know what I mean? I am not anti... So I'm not anti-owning what you have. The only exception is if I can't buy it, I will download it. By the way, if I download it and I find it to buy, I will buy it. And I will actually spend money on it, because that's how amazing I think it is to actually own your own stuff. This I couldn't find to buy. By the way, most of his stuff is available for free if you know where to look. It is Art Bell Ghost to Ghost, and if you get the chance, you should totally check it out. It's amazing. It's an old show that he has sadly passed away. So, please give that a check out. Also, but this is a point of me actually telling you guys, I'm not just here talking out of my rear end, right? Actually, for all you know, I was talking out of my rear end because I accidentally had it clicked over to where it wouldn't show you my list. But here's my list. Let me show you my entire library. Let me do it. This is by artist. You can tell there's a good number of artists here. Right? And there will be more as I add it to it. Let's go by albums. By the way, not all of my stuff is scanned into this. Just to show you, this is how much I actually own. And 99%? of these albums are actually stuff that I have bought myself. I refuse to pirate music if I can. I either buy the actual I either actually buy the actual album or I download the MP3. So that is my collection so far. At least the stuff that's been digitized. I'm thinking of adding some more stuff to be digitized here in a little bit. But it will kind of depend on what kind of time I've got and what I've got to do. My point is, I'm not just saying this to talk out of my rear. I do believe what I believe, and I think that it is absolutely amazing to have all of your stuff there. And I'll even go into the story of why I do what I do in this regard, because it's very important to me that everybody understands why I believe what I do. If nobody understands why you believe what you do, and you are just one of those people that just does things and you do weird stuff and nobody asks you why and you don't explain, I don't think that's the right way to be. Anyway, my point is, the people at Hasbro, they are very much into you will own nothing and you will be happy. And I think, personally, my personal opinion, I think Critical Role saw this coming down the line, and they went from one extreme to the other, in the sense that they have said no AI ever will touch this show, and I think that's admirable, but at the same time, I don't think you're supposed to be looking down on another artist either. It just isn't, to me, it isn't a good look, okay? I don't necessarily agree with that opinion either. I don't know where I come down on it. Let me tell you my most recent experience with AI. And this should explain my point of view a little bit better, okay? Many of you know I have ChatGPT myself, and I have been going through a journal sorting phase of making sure journals end up in the right spot, in the right place. I would like to get to a place where I'm actually scanning in journals so I can look at them, because I'm very much into journal writing. I'm very much into pen and paper. I'm very much into, let's create something by hand, let's build something by hand. However, in my efforts to try to sort this system that I'm working on, I have come across a problem, and that problem is specifically I lose organization. So I am using AI to help me organize my system until it gets up and running in the fullness of what I needed to do. Let me explain how I've got my journal system set up. So, at the moment, right, I have one glyph that is Bible study, and another glyph that I can write in Bible study if I know something is not coming from the Lord, but coming from other sources, like, say, the devil. Negative sources, that kind of thing, right? Because you have to be able to tell. And, but I also want to make note of writing that stuff down because it's a weak spot. It is an absolute weak spot. And, we have one glyph for finances, one glyph for writing, one glyph for systems, one glyph for the Freedom Center ideas, one glyph for the unresolved, one glyph for relationship and date ideas and that kind of thing. Wellness or remedies, health practices, nutrition has a glyph. And we have different colors for all of these. We also have secondary colors for the topics. What you might ask, what are the colors for in the particular not that are in the secondary colors, because I mentioned I have colors for the main system as well as the secondary colors. The main colors will be for the color of the journal that I'm going to use in the future. Right now, it's got its own glyph because I have different sized journals that I want to use, and I have to use those up to make sure that I can do those particular things, right? So that's how it's all designed. And I did that using AI. I planned that out using AI. You say, oh, could you plan that out without using AI? Yes, but it would have taken a lot longer. Because as I was developing the system for AI, for the journal system, right, parts would be added. And the most recent part has actually been quite interesting. It has been, let me show you. Ink colors, right? So let me pull down to scene 2 and let me look at the Twisby. Actually, the best way to do this would be scroll over and we're gonna do this and this is shipped, so I'm gonna track my package. I have a favorite pen brand, and let me show you what this brand will do. Let me go to the fountain pens, right? Let me do by view all fountain pens, maybe. Nope. let's do brand. And that will be the best way to do it, is just do that. And I will show you Twisby. There we go. So Twisby Eco is a brand, a subset of a brand, and this is the different brand of fountain pen. And what I'm gonna do is for each ink that I have in the secondary, eventually, not all at once, because these things are not cheap. They're not super uber expensive. They're like $55 a pop, but they're not cheap. They're and you can tell some of these are not cheap at all, but you want to keep the Twisby Eco theme going for the most part. And I have several of these already, so it just works. And I'm just basically gonna use one per secondary topic. And I'm gonna look up alternative brands if I need to. That is similar in make, and I'm gonna look out for different colors of that. And I figured all of this out using AI in conjunction, and I basically said, would this work? And they said, yes it would. Here's how you do it. And I'm like, okay, let's get it done. But you're not gonna do any of that. You're not gonna get any of this stuff done if you don't use all the tools available. Do you not know, and I'm sorry, but do you not know how difficult it is to do some of this coding and some of this thing? And I get it. Give me a moment. And I get it. Some of these bigger individuals, they want to look out for their job. They want to look out for the industry that they work in. There are people that depend on them. If you can just snap your fingers and write the rough draft of the story, and hey, I'll iron it out and make some good money. Now, don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying every use of AI is warranted or perfect or anything like that, because it's not. We just talked about how badly Hasbro is doing with their actual scandal of the AI and how excited they are about it and what the cost is because you're replacing people. And I will advise the Hasbro CEO right now, don't do that. Don't replace people. Don't replace DMs. Allow for the AI to be available for specially catered programs for the DMs to use. You can even use voices to allow DMs to actually input the stuff that they make and have different characters be read off as different voices. That would be amazing, actually. So there's use for this technology. They're just not using it properly, in my opinion. But this has been more of an AI episode, an AI rundown of the different things going on. In short, I agree with both sides on some things. I disagree with both sides on some things. And let me know what you think down below. I'm interested to hear. Please, don't be shy. Give me comments. Give me some form of trying to get things done. I wish you the best. Have a great night, and I'll see you next time. Bye.